is the rule number 11, the protest. So sa protest that will of section 1, so the protest that will not be received. So protest that shall not be received or considered if they are based solely on decision involving the accuracy of judgment on the part of an umpire or in the team lodging the protest won the game. So kailangan is kapag halimbawa dito dapat ang protest natin hindi siya ma-receive or ma-consider if ang mga base natin or mga base solely. So, dapat yung mga judgment natin or mga decision is dapat accurate siya. Accurate judgment sa part ng umpire. So, sa part ng umpire, kailangan every decision na gagawin nila, every judgment is kinakailangan na dapat nakabase talaga siya sa rules natin. So, para hindi magkaroon ng mga protest behind those mga players or mga coaches. So next is section 2, the protest will be received. So protest that shall be received and considered include matters of the following times, like for example, the misinterpretation of playing ball, failure of an umpire to apply the correct rule to given situation. So failure to impose the correct penalty for a given violation. So ito yung mga protest that will be received. So like kailangan ito yung mga protest na i-receive. Yung mga dapat i-receive is for example, when a runner was safe or out, mga ganun siya. Pero kaya dapat maging totoo sa trabaho niya yung umpire. Kasi karamihan ngayon or dati kasi may ganun na nangyari, nagko-conflict ang laro because of the umpire. Not accurate yung kanyang judgment sa laro. So next is section 3, the protest involving judgment and interpretation of rule. So protest may involve both matter of judgment and the interpretation of a rule. So an example of the situation of this are following. So when one out and the runners on second and third bases, the batter filled out. The runner on the third tag up after the catch. The player on second did not. The runner on third crossed the plate before the ball was played at the second base for the third out. The umpire did not allow the run to score. The question as to whether the runners left their bases before the catch and whether the play at second was made before the player on the third cross the plate are solely matters of judgment and are not protestable. The failure of the umpire to allow the run to score was a misinterpretation of playing rule and was a proper subject for rules. So that is it's based naman talaga siya sa mga umpire natin. Okay, next is the section 4, the notification of intent to lodge protest. So the notification of intent to protest must be made immediately before the next pitch. Kailangan ma-notify na agad ang mga bagay or like mga protest before mag-start ang pitching, before mag-start yung ating pitcher sa pag-pitch. So next is the section 5, time to lodge an official protest. The official written protest must be filled within a reasonable time. Kung kailangan, yung mga protest natin dapat may mga reasons, dapat acceptable or valid reasons, dapat valid reason in reasonable time. So in absence of a leg or tournament rule fixing the time limit for filling a protest should be considered if filled within a reasonable time, depending upon the nature of the case and the difficulty for obtaining the information in which placed the protest. So within 48 hours after the scheduled time of the contest is generally considered a reasonable time. Next is the section 6 is the information required for written protest. So the formal written protest should contain the following information: the date, the time, place, and the game, the names of the umpires and scorers, the rules and section of the official rules or local rules under which the protest is made, the decision and conditions surrounding the making of the decision. All essential facts involve the matter protested. So, yun siya yung belongs sa section 6. Next is the section 7, the result of the protest. So, the decision made on protested game must be resolved in one of the following. The protest is found invalid and the game scored stand as played. So, when a protest allowed the misinterpretation of playing rule, the game is replayed from the point which the incorrect decision was made. So, with the decision is corrected then. Next is when a protest for ineligibility of a team roster member is allowed, the game shall be forfeited by the offending team. So, yun siya yung section 7 natin, the results of the protest. So, next rule is the rule number 12, the last rule of the official of softball. So, next is the scoring. The rule number 12 is the scoring. So, section 1, the official scorer. So, ang official scorer, sila ang yung nag-keep ng records of each game is outlined in the following rules. So, the official scorer is sila yung mga nag-list or sila yung mga nag-score on sa laro. Shall have the sole authority to make all decisions involving judgment. For example, it is the scorer's responsibility to determine whether a batter's advance to first base is the result of the hit or an error. However, scorer shall not take decision which conflicts with the official playing rules or with an umpire's decision. So, kailangan din ang scorer natin is needed. Halimbawa, siya yung may authority na halimbawa, yung batter is magpunta sa, or may free base siya, ganon. So, dapat din, walang decision making na mag-conflict sa umpire natin or sa playing sa paglalaro. Especially sa mga umpire's decision, sa mga plate umpire's decision at saka base umpire's decision. So, iba rin yung role ng scorer natin, iba rin yung role ng ating mga base umpire at saka plate umpire. Next is the box score. So, each player's name and the position or position to be played shall be listed in order in which he batted or would have batted unless the player is legally substitute, ejected or removed from the game or the game ends before his turn at bat. So, the box scorer. So, the box scorer, ito yung halimbawa, yung isang player is nakatapak na siya sa first base. That is, parang halimbawa, kumpleto yung diamond natin. That is box, score box natin siya. And para malaman din natin kung sino yung mga players na nakatapak bawat bases. So, next is the section 3, which is the base hits shall not be recorded. Base hits shall not be recorded. So, a base hit shall not be recorded is the following cases. So, when a runner is forced out by batted ball or would have been forced out except for the fielding error, when a player fielding a batted ball retires a preceding runner with ordinary effort, when a fielder fails in an attempt to retire a preceding runner, and in scorer judgment, the batter runner could have been retired at first base. So, when a batter runner reaches first base safely as a result of preceding runner being pulled out for interfering with a batted ball or a defensive play. And next is the section 4, the sacrifice fly balls. A sacrifice fly is scored when with less than 2 counts. So, the batter scores a runner with a fly ball which is cuff. So, mga scorer din natin is dapat nare-record nila yung mga fly balls natin. So, like that, mga curveball or basta sila yung nag-account nun. Kumbaga, nililista nila yung bawat fly balls like that. So, the ball or the line drive handled by another outfielder or infielder running in the outfield is dropped and the runner scores, and in the scorer judgment, the runner could have scored after the catch and had the fly ball have been caught. So, magkakaroon lang siya ng score kapag halimbawa, pag nakatch yung bola or hindi nakatch yung bola. Next is the section 5, the runs batted in. So, a run batted in a run scored because of one of the following reasons. A safe hit, sacrifice bunt or slap hit from the fast pitch only, or sacrifice fly from the fast pitch and the slow pitch. A foul fly cuff, an infield put out or fielder's choice, a runner forced home because of the obstruction, the batter being hit with a pitch ball or being given a base on balls. So a home run and all runs scored as a result. So dito sa runs batted in, magkakascore lang sila if mga home run tapos na kompleto nila yung mga bases natin, abakan yung mga bases natin, like in the first base, second base, third base, and saka yung complete. So section 6 is the pitchers credited with a win. So pitcher shall be credited with a win in the following situations. So when he is the starting pitcher and has pitched at least 4 innings and his team was not only in the end when he is replaced but remains in the lead of the remainder of the game. So magiging panalo pa din sila. May may chance silang panalo kahit na nag-substitute sila ng player or ng pitcher, kasi nga yung score nila is lamang pa din. So may chance to win pa rin sila. So another is when a game is ended after 5 innings of play and the starting pitcher has pitched at least 3 innings lang and this team scores more runs than the other team when the game is terminated. So halimbawa sa 5 innings, so hanggang sa 3 pa lang, o halimbawa sa 3 innings, tapos halimbawa sa team A is lamang pa din sila, ang team B is lose, parang hindi pa lose, ng konti yung score nila, so they have the chance to win, they have the credited to win. So next is the section 7, the pitcher charged with a loss. So pitcher shall be charged with loss regardless of the number of innings he has pitched if he is replaced when his team's behind the score and his team thereafter fails to tie the score or gain the lead. So my pitcher is charged with loss kapag halimbawa yung team A is konti, halimbawa yung team A is konti lang yung score nila, then sa team B is more than pa sa kanila, is mas malaki yung score nila, mas malaki yung nag-gain nilang score, so they are charged to lose. May chance silang matalo kasi halimbawa sa 5 innings 3 innings pa lang, so medyo paano yung score nila, how much more kapag ituloy-tuloy nila, so there are chance na malo sila or matalo sila. The section 8 is the game summary. So the game summary shall list the following items in order. So the score by innings and the final score. So dapat ito yung mga kailangan gawin ng mga scorer natin. Yung score by innings and final scores. The runs batted in and by whom hit. 2 base hits and by whom hit. 3 base and by whom hit. Home runs and by whom, kung sino, sacrifice flies, kung sino ba yun, mga double plays and players participating in them, mga triple plays, number of walks given by each pitcher, number of batters struck out by each pitcher, number of hits and runs allowed by each pitcher, the name of the winning pitcher, the name of losing pitcher, the time of the game, the names of the umpires and scorers, the fast pitch only for stolen bases, kung sino ba yon sa fast pitch, sacrifice bunts, the names of batters hits by pitch ball and the pitcher who hit them, the number of wild pitches made by each pitcher, the number of pass balls made by each catcher. So ito dapat yung mga nililist ng ating scorer natin. So that's it for the section 8. Next is the section 9, the stolen bases. So fast pitch, stolen bases are credited to a runner whenever he advances 1 bases and unaided by hit or put out, an error, a force out, a fielder's choice, a pass ball, a wild pitch, or an illegal pitch. That is a stolen bases. Sila yung makakredit sila in a runner. So next is, sabi dito, is this includes a batter runner advancing to second on an unwired base on balls. So next is the section 10, the records of forfeited games. So all records of forfeited game shall be included in the official records except that of pitchers won lost record. So ang isasali lang dito is yung mga penalty. Records of forfeited game. So sino ba yung mananalo dito? So okay, that's all for our rule number 12. Discard. So that's it. Thank you.